People often ask me how I became interested in hypnosis. Well, when I was about 11 years old, there used to be a number of television programs that would occasionally tell stories about hypnosis, and that kind of piqued my curiosity. My hobby at the time was magic, pulling rabbits out of hats, doing card tricks, that sort of thing. And in one of the mail order catalogs that I had from a magic company in Illinois, there was a booklet featured called 25 Lessons in Hypnotism for 25 cents. So I bought it. I read it from cover to cover, and I was really intrigued by what you could do with hypnosis. So I called my best friend, Stephen, asked him to come over to the house, and I said, "Stephen, would you be willing to be my first subject? I want to try to hypnotize someone." And of course he said yes. So I sat him down. I went through the technique that was outlined in the book, told him he was getting very sleepy, his eyelids were getting very heavy, all of that sort of thing. And after a while, he seemed to be very relaxed and comfortable and seemed to be in a hypnotic state. So I had 3 tests that I was prepared to do that I had read about in the book and that I had seen on TV. Test number 1, which is pretty traditional, I told him that I put his arm up like this, and I said to him, "Your arm is stiff and rigid as a board." This is known as arm levitation. Stiff and rigid as a board. There's no way that you can move it, no matter how hard you try. The harder you try, the harder it is to move. And I pushed down like this, and I pushed like that, and his arm didn't move. Well, I thought that was pretty good. I thought, well, maybe he's hypnotized, but then again, he was my friend, so maybe he was just faking it. I was ready with test number 2. I said, "Stephen, it's a very hot day. It's in the middle of the summer, and you're very, very thirsty." So I gave him a glass, and I said, "This glass is filled with ice-cold Coke. Drink it down, Stephen, and enjoy." So he took the glass and he drank it down, all the way down, licked his lips, and he was satisfied. Now the thing is, I told him that this was Coca-Cola, but it wasn't. It was vinegar. And when I saw that Stephen would drink a glass full of vinegar, I mean, we're talking an 8-ounce glass, that he would drink that glass full of vinegar and not cringe and make all kinds of faces, I said to myself, hey, this is not something that even my best friend would fake. But there was still a shred of doubt in my mind. So I was ready with test number 3. And I said to Stephen, "Stephen, now as I was saying this, I was doing something, which I'll explain in just a moment, but his eyes were closed and he didn't know what I was doing." Okay? I said, "Stephen, hold out your hand. Now your hand is numb. You have no feeling whatsoever in your hand." And as I was saying this to him, and I kept giving him suggestions that there was no feeling in his hand whatsoever, I took some of the skin from the back of his hand and pulled it up just like this. Then I had a safety pin. And I plunged that safety pin, as I was telling him that his hand had no feeling whatsoever, I plunged that safety pin through the skin in the back of his hand. He didn't wince, he didn't blink, even though his eyes were closed. And I thought, wow, hypnosis is really powerful. This is something that today we call glove anesthesia. He didn't make any kind of motion at all, didn't feel that was causing him any pain. There was no bleeding whatsoever. Of course, then I took the needle, the pin, safety pin, out of his hand, told him that the feeling in his hand was normal, and he was fine after that. So when I went through that experience and I tried those 3 different tests, that proved to me at a very young age how powerful hypnosis can be. A couple of years after that, I met a stage hypnotist by the name of E.G. Matthews, who became my mentor for a while, and I learned a great deal, especially about stage hypnosis, from him. But then after a while, I began to think back to my experience with Stephen. And I thought to myself, stage hypnosis can be a lot of fun, but when I saw the power in terms of stopping the pain, stopping the bleeding, I thought, this is a power that can really be used for good. Now, when I say power, I'm not talking about a power that I had over him, but the power that his own subconscious mind had to control his body. And so several years after that, in various contexts, I began to do hypnotherapy. I worked with people who had a fear of dentists. I worked with people who wanted to lose weight, people who wanted to stop smoking, and people who had been suffering from a lot of trauma in their past. And I found exactly how powerful a tool hypnosis and self-hypnosis could be. And so to this very day, I continue to use hypnosis to help people to release the power within them, to help them to realize what resources they have in their own subconscious mind that they can use to help themselves change or improve just about any kind of behavior. So my journey has taken me from a very simple experiment with a best friend to today, when I'm working with many, many people from different walks of life, different ages, with different issues, all of which can be addressed very well, very effectively with hypnosis and self-hypnosis.